Hi everyone, Trina here, and I wanted to try to get some more of this book read to you all, and I hope you're finding it as amazing as I do, because I think it's beautiful how it's showing the different belief systems and how they all have so many strong correlations. And the primary information that we don't have has been what happens after we die. So in looking at all of these different ancient theologies and belief systems, that's the one thing that I see, is that they all believe in life after death. Many of them believe in reincarnation, but they all have some type of a belief system of what happens after we drop our physical bodies. So we're going to start today with chapter 2, and it's called Mysteries of the Hidden Wisdom. So with that, I will begin. And what it says is, let us now take a look at some of the earliest teachings about nature and the nature of soul, and its journey between our world and the higher realms. These teachings come from the ancient cultures of Egypt, India, Persia, Gaul, Greece. Most of these civilizations embrace the concept of an afterlife, much as the later Abrahamic religious traditions do today. For this reason, that the ancients called these teachings the mysteries, for they knew about the hidden realms of light beyond our own world. These sages understood the mechanisms of soul evolution. Thus, they are set up in great centers of learning and initiations known as the mystery schools, so that those who sought the deeper truths could discover them for themselves. And these schools existed some 4,000 years before the birth of Christ, and some 400 years after Jesus' death. Today, they are the templates for our present universities. Yet, unlike the modern colleges and universities, these schools were not focused only on the science and the humanities, but also on discovering the deeper reasons behind our very existence. So, Greek mystery schools, they taught the histories. Everything of any importance to the Greeks, they got from Egypt. However, Greek philosophers were also brilliant in and of themselves, investigating not only the outer world of the sciences, but the inner nature of the soul. Not merely content with exploring the realms of statesmanships, law, mathematics, logic, physics, healing, the Greeks also sought answers to the fundamental questions about the hidden principles of the universe. The Greek mystery schools not only taught astronomy, physics, mathematics, music, and all of the sciences known at that time, they also brought forth an experimental aspect into the curriculum that was designed to propel initiates into an awareness of their true soul identity. This was facilitated through meditation, ritual yoga, sacred plant journeys, out-of-body travel, and deliberately induced near-death experience. Did you catch that? Deliberately induced near-death experiments. Sounds like that movie Flatliner we saw many years ago. With, who was it? Kevin Bacon? I don't remember. And Kiefer Sutherland? I don't know. But yeah, same thing. They did it on purpose to see what would happen. So obviously these guys were tapping into some serious deep teachings that obviously we don't have a lot of information about, and the ones that do know, they've never told us what happens. So they also did the deliberately induced near-death experiences and other initiation processes that tested the students to the limit of his or her faculties. Neurosurgeon and best-selling author Eben Alexander says, in the mystery religions, as in most ancient initiations, the person being initiated died as the earthly person he or she had been, and then was reborn into a new spiritual one, not the same vague, theoretical way But for real, the central concept of the mysteries, as of most ancient initiatory practices, was that the humans, we have a dual heritage, an earthly one and a heavenly one. And I've seen that. I've seen my as above body, and this is my as below body. So I've seen that I am too. So you know one's earthly heritage is to you known only half of oneself. The mystery initiations allowed people to recover direct knowledge of what we could call their heavenly lineage, our ancestors. In a sense, the initiates wasn't turned into anything new, so much as he or she was reminded. You remember. You just remember. You're not adding anything. You're actually reconnecting to what you already are. So he or she was reminded in a powerful and immediate way to who and what he or she had started out as before coming to earth, of what he or she had really been all along. That's profound and beautiful and such a deep truth within me, because this is what I had seen. So thus, who graduated from this initiation became known as the twice born, signifying that they had been born again through a near-death experience. These schools also taught many practical processes to start of each new day, meditating, taking an evening inventory of your consciousness to see what could have been done better, and envisioning your future so that you learn to create from positive intention rather than negative programming of fears. Wow, that's huge. Every night you should be taking an inventory of your consciousness to see what you could have done better, and envisioning your future so that you've learned to create from positive intention rather than negative programming or fears. That is huge. This process also includes dreaming, journaling, and governing your inner dialogue. Philosophical life reflection and working with positive affirmations called maxims. Ooh, maxims. Yeah, you guys should look into what maxims truly mean. Those are the will of God, the laws of God. Those are what all of our governments were formed from, were from what they were called the maxims of law, which are God's maxims. This is where we get much of our moral ethics and codes from. And it's also the strongest foundation of law. So while there were literally hundreds of these maxims that a student could commit to memory, here are a few that I find quite insightful. As within, so without. As without, so within. Try to bring back the God in you, to the divine in the all. The just man is the freest of anyone from anxiety, but the unjust man is perpetually haunted by it. The long way to happiness is through words, but the short way is through the daily practice of deeds. According to the rule of order, little things must precede the greater if we would make ascent. If this way of practicing philosophy is unpleasant, it is a shortcut. It leads to happiness, even though we have to walk through fire. We can walk through fire, though. Fire doesn't hurt you. You can even do that in physical flesh. I've seen people do it with my own eyes. 60 feet long, running across hot coals. And they were giggling, laughing the whole way, and knowing it couldn't touch them. And the laws of physics do not support this, but the laws of their belief overrode the laws of matter. And I saw it with my own eyes, and I've done it, I've seen it, and it's real. You guys, we are so much more powerful than we have been allowed to know. So remember, y'all, fire can't burn you if you don't believe it. And that's truth. Truth. Students were also encouraged to contemplate making death a friend as one of their spiritual practices. This is what we need to start doing. This is what we need to start to learn. The philosopher taught that exercising of living well and the exercise of dying well are one and the same. In Plato's Phaedo, known to the ancient readers as On the Soul, he asks Socrates about the link between the study of the soul and the afterlife. Is not philosophy the practice of death? So, the practice of death became a measurement of how a soul has lived based upon the understanding that since we are immortal, when we face death, we are simultaneously asking ourselves what value our lives have had. How had we used the time that had been given to us? In many ways, the mystery schools provide deep therapy in the midst of human savagery, political intrigue, war, violence, ambition, and treachery, not to mention the day-to-day conflicts and suffering that seem to accompany human life. But like all cures, administered to someone who is sick or out of balance, philosophy had to be practiced in stages, beginning with whatever one's current life conditions were. Then the initiate could slowly progress through successive phases until the cure became successful, resulting in a balanced, wise, and happy life. Socrates believed that people only had a bad result of blind ignorance if they really understood the spiritual laws of the universe and their place within it. All people would therefore want to do good. So in the way of the mystery schools were eminently practical, for they were about ridding oneself of ignorance and changing one's life for the better. Plato asserted, no soul is willingly deprived of truth. And it is the same with justice, moderation, loving kindness, and all the like. It is essential to keep this in mind, for it will make you gentler towards all. In the Greeks, there were 3 different branches of the mystery schools: the Orphic mysteries, the Eleusinian mysteries, and the mysteries of Dionysus, each with its own ceremonies and centers. Yet even through these 3 branches emphasized different gods, just as Dionysus, Orpheus, and Serapis, Mithras, Demeter, and Persephone. I can never say her word. And Isis. They all understood that there was but one intelligence behind them all, and that these divinities were merely different faces of expression of the one transcendent creator. And this is what I've seen over and over again. One time years ago, I had a vision, and I was in a group of people, and we were all in hooded garbs watching a center being speak. And I was looking at all these masters and beautiful beings at this beautiful table, and they were conversing. And I was looking at them in awe, thinking, wow, what it would be like to embody the consciousness of these beautiful masters and these beings, and how it would be amazing to reach the levels of awareness and knowing that they have. Because in the presence of these beings, you know that they are wise beyond your wisest imagination. They're beautiful beings, many of them. And as I'm watching them all, they all had the cloaks on, and I had one on too. And at one time, they all drew down their covers over their face, and then they brought them back up. And they showed me each and every one of them had turned into me. So they were telling me that you already are, that they're already within you as I am already within me. We are one, and we have access to each other through our cellular communication. So as above, we operate through the miraculous. Down below, we operate through the molecule. So our cell phones are profound. So I will start another series very soon. We are into chapter 2, and the different faces or the different expressions are all the one transcendent creator. Guys, I really do believe that this is true, and this is how we're all one, and this is how God is within you. We all have a spark. So we will be getting next into the 3 levels of initiation and the inner initiations. So we will keep going through this book, and it's a beautiful book, and I hope you're learning from it as I am, and it's confirming so much of what my heart has already known to be true. So namaste, much love, and we'll see you on the next one.